Well, everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the Steam Deck and take a look at how this specific device is holding up or is going to hold up in 2023. Now, I have some interesting things to say about this, which is probably not going to be that interesting at all because I'm kind of like an outsider in a way of these specific devices. You know, I don't really have too many emulation or gaming devices in general. Clearly I have a lot of gaming devices, but I wouldn't really consider myself a heavy gamer, and I really wouldn't consider myself a heavy PC gamer. The most things I do nowadays besides playing like Super Smash Brothers is basically playing a lot of emulated games, and I was very excited to see how the Steam Deck was going to hold up with some of the games that I would actually test and play with. And it's kind of an interesting device. I really like the Steam Deck, but my first hands-on experience of this device was a little rocky, and I'll explain that throughout this whole entire video. The first thing I want to say is if you want to buy a Steam Deck, links will be down in the description. You can get them from there and you can help support the channel at the same time. Now, there are several different models of the Steam Deck that you can actually purchase. I purchased the base model, the one with the non-hard drive, the one with the hard drive, the one without the SSD. So it was $360. Actually, I may have purchased the SSD one now that I think about it because I paid way more than that. I paid close to $500 for it. So maybe I did actually buy the one with the SSD, but there are several different models. You can go all the way down to the 64GB model, or you can go all the way up to the 512GB model that actually does have the SSD. But that 529 model as well has the SSD inside of it too. I think there's lots of sales going on, so that's why these numbers are changing. But on July 4th, that's kind of what the numbers are as of right now. Now, looking on the outside of the Steam Deck, it's a very interesting looking console, and I think it actually looks very, very cool. Some people said it looks very similar to the Nintendo Switch. I mean, take it as you will, but there's been a lot of portable gaming handhelds that came out even before the Nintendo Switch, so kind of keep that in mind. Now, on the left side of this console, we have basically our D-pad, we have our view button, we have one of the thumbsticks, we have a trackpad, and we have a speaker as well as a Steam button. You have a microphone at the very top of the Steam Deck. It's kind of like a dual microphone array. You have almost like stereo speakers on the left and right side. On the right side more though, we have a quick access little button. We have another trackpad. We have another thumbstick. We have another menu button, and you have the A, B, X, Y buttons that are on the top right as well. So on the front of this console, it definitely looks good. I have very few things to complain about on the front of this Steam Deck, and I think it looks very good from that perspective alone. And on the middle of this specific device, you have that 7-inch display. Now it's a touchscreen, so it looks very good, and it's also like a very decent panel. I think Steam made a really decent looking console here, and that's something that's really cool. When you're getting this type of device, it actually looks very, very nice. On the top down, you're getting your L1, L2 buttons as well as your R2 and R1 buttons on the right side. You're getting your volume buttons, your headphone jack, a fan that's at the top, another USB, just a standard USB Type-C port, not another one. There's only one of them on this device. This LED light and that power button. And on the back, you're getting some more buttons, as well as the microSD card slot on that device too. So it actually looks very cool and I like it a lot. I don't know if I prefer, like the size of this console might be the only thing that's kind of like a little bit annoying for me, but that is because this console is so powerful, it needs that much space in order for these things to actually run. So it's not like even that big of a con because that's kind of what you'd expect for this type of device. You want it to be as powerful as possible. So for a lot of people, this type of size is actually more portable than bringing something like maybe like a gaming PC, because this thing is kind of, I think, suited more for that kind of work than something maybe like what a Nintendo Switch basically would kind of bring in that specific standpoint. Now, I want to hit on a little bit about my experience. We know this thing can play games. We know this thing is a very, very powerful console from that perspective. But one annoying thing I kind of want to state, and I know some people are not going to like this, but from my first hands-on experience of using this thing like a week ago when I bought it, I could not get past the setup screen for the Steam Deck. I have set up so many consoles, I've set up so many phones and devices and things like that, so I'm not a newcomer when it comes down to going through the setup panel. I think it's one of the most basic things somebody could do when they're starting off with their, device experience. But I have no idea why it was so difficult for the Steam software to download, and then I had to update my Steam Deck. It wasn't working, so I was pretty much stuck in this like looping phase of going through the setup, and I couldn't even get through the initial setup phase for my Steam Deck until I actually had to go and restart it several more times, and then I was able to do it. From what I researched, it doesn't look like tons and tons of people experience this every time, but many people have actually experienced very similar things to this, and that was something that really stood out to me. I have no idea why that even happened, but I'm glad that I'm able to go through with it because I'm still able to use this console, but that was something that was very strange to me from that perspective. So I want to get that out of the way. There's lots of little weird glitches and bugs that are always going to happen with any device out there. So it's not just with the Steam Deck, but that's just one of the literally the first experience I had when I actually booted up the Steam Deck at that time. Now, going back to everything that's good with the Steam Deck, this is actually a very good device. I would say it's actually an incredible device for the price that you're paying and for what is capable behind this device. Now, the power inside, again, kind of depends on which specific model you pick up, but it has that AMD APU inside, which is pretty powerful. You're getting the 8 RDNA 2 CUs. Well, I'm going to say these numbers is not going to make any sense to anybody. You're also getting 16 gigabytes of RAM on the side of this console, which is actually pretty cool because you don't have to, that's as much RAM I have on my MacBook. And my MacBook is way more expensive than this thing. And I feel like my Steam Deck could actually perform better than my MacBook in certain games. Like I said, I think I got the base model, but you can go up and get an SSD if you really want to, which is another really cool feature. So you do have a lot of capability there of kind of speccing these things out to whichever way you want to. Now, when it comes down to the gaming library behind this console, because this thing is basically built by Valve, the Steam company basically, you are going to basically be able to play all those games that are available on Steam. And that's why I think Steam is doing so well with this specific thing. Not only do they make the software behind the games and everything, but now they make the actual, hardware now. So it's almost like a Nintendo type of experience, I think. When you think about Nintendo, you think about, they make the hardware, so they make the games. But that really is just an entry point into you buying their games. You buying the, next Mario game or the first party titles or whatever game's available. So I feel like with the Steam Deck, that's kind of exactly what Steam is doing here. And it is a very smart thing they ended up doing. I think it makes a lot of sense for them to take this approach. But the coolest thing is that there is a lot of customizability that you can do within the Steam Deck. You can actually install many different operating systems on your Steam Deck, and you can unlock so much inside of it, which is insane. If you just type in how to install, Windows on your Steam Deck or how to install anything really inside of your Steam Deck, you can pretty much do it. And that is something that is amazing. I don't know if people are doing this at a, high level, but I have heard many stories and people mention that they have actually used their Steam Deck as their main PC. Basically, not only just for gaming, but really for anything. And that is incredible. Being able to use your Steam Deck for that kind of stuff is so cool. And that is something I'm really happy about. So to kind of sum up this whole entire video, what I'll tell you is, I think the Steam Deck is an incredible machine to buy. I think it doesn't really cost a crazy amount compared to what you're getting. But I do think that the only experience I've had that was bad was basically the initial setup. Other than that, of course, there's going to be glitches with every device, but I've had an amazing experience with the Steam Deck. And I'm very, very happy with the way, Steam has pretty much approached it. Is it perfect? Not really. The size is a little bit too big maybe for some people, but I do feel like for the first generation console, I think Steam has done a great job. And from all the input and all the user reviews and all the reviews I've seen of this thing for the last year or so, I feel like they've knocked it out of the park, and I am very happy with the Steam Deck in general. The only things they could ruin for the next generation is if they remove the micro SD card slot and or if they make it where you can only install Steam OS and you can't use any other operating system on it. Other than that, I think Steam did a great job, and I'm excited to continue using this thing. So that pretty much covers it up. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.